impacted by the previous burial code.
Okay, thanks. What were some people's reaction to NAGPRA once it was passed?
Well, I would say there were a good number of anthropologists and historians and archaeologists affiliated with universities, historical societies, museums, and so forth, that by that time thought it was the right thing to do. But there were, and there still are, certain archaeologists and physical anthropologists that resent the law, but they've got to follow it because it is federal law. But there are cases where they drag their feet.
Okay. What do you think?
And I think, well, let me go on. That was a comment from the professional community.
Okay.
I think that the business community, in general, doesn't like the law, along with other preservation legislation. I mean, look at what's going on at Standing Rock right now, where corporations are trying to get around the preservation laws and thwart the civil rights concerns of Native Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think Maria Pearson's greatest achievement was?
Well, I would have to say getting the Iowa Burial Code changed. I don't mean to be provincial and only looking at Iowa, but this really was an incredible step in the history of civil rights. So I think we can look at her contributions in many areas of civil rights and the recognition of diversity and ethical concerns. But certainly that was a landmark, and it did make an impact nationally and internationally. She participated in several meetings of the Midwest, now I'm spacing off, the International Archaeological Conference, and she went to several of those meetings overseas. So, I mean, that certainly was her signal achievement.
Okay. How does Maria Pearson's work affect your job today?
Well, I'm retired.
Oh, okay. Well, how did it affect your job?
I'm still involved in some things, but I'm not doing that much field work. Incidentally, the international group I was thinking is the World Archaeological Congress. She attended several of those and worked with Larry Zimmerman on that in particular. But how it affects our job, the Iowa Burial Code and NAGPRA affect the way we, quote, do business. We don't go out and dig up Native American, in particular Native American cemeteries, as a research project. I mean, before the 1970s, an archaeologist could say, gee, I'm interested in prehistoric health issues, and I want to excavate burials at a certain site and study them. And from a scientific point of view, there are things to commend that, but there are ethical issues. So now we can't just go out and do that because we say it's our research interest. If we are out excavating sites or doing surveys and we come across Native American bones, I mean, here in Iowa, we have to stop and contact the state archaeologist and his or her Indian Advisory Board. But it means that if remains are excavated and collected, and it varies from state to state, either the state archaeologist or the state historic preservation officer must inform interested Native American tribes as to what they want done with those remains. So that was kind of a big change. I myself, during my professional career, had excavated Native American burial remains in Red Rock Reservoir and Saylorville Reservoir. We were under contract with the National Park Service to rescue some of the sites that were going to be destroyed by the construction, impounding, and the operation of those two reservoirs. And there were massive impacts there, even more so up in the Dakotas, where there were larger sites and heavier population density. And what I did was according to the laws at the time and the professional code. And yes, we obtained information about prehistoric populations that was important. But I also had excavated 4 Euro-American pioneer burials in Saylorville Reservoir. So, my comment was, I may have been wrong, but I wasn't racist. To me, the Caucasian burials and the fact that cemetery was, quote, lost in time as far as written records was concerned, this was no less interesting than Native Americans. And so I called myself an equal opportunity excavator, which usually would get the attention of people quick enough that we could have a civil conversation and not be combative. But, we wouldn't handle it in the same way. I think the burials which we excavated would indeed have been excavated, but we would have gone through certain procedures and certainly consultation with Native Americans before proceeding, if we were to do that sort of archaeology today.
Okay.